Yo, what's good, Jets Nation? This is NY Jets Media bringing you guys a brand new video, and in this one, I'll be breaking down the New York Jets free agency and every single player that they've re-signed and signed newly to the team. This was Joe Douglas's first free agency as the New York Jets general manager, so I'm super excited to break down each re-signing and new guy and give you guys some of my thoughts on if I like him, is he a good fit, is he a good culture guy, and getting to the salary cap as well. So with that being said, let's jump right into this video. So I'm going to start off with the players that we've re-signed. So the first player that I want to talk about is Alex Lewis, guard. Last year, Joe Douglas saw the offensive line, and he knew that this was a huge issue for the Jets, so he flipped a 7th round pick for Alex Lewis from the Ravens just to add depth to the offensive line position. He was not even a starter week 1, and then Osemele gets hurt, so Alex Lewis goes in for Osemele, and he becomes way better than Osemele. He was an upgrade. He was probably our best offensive lineman last year, and that's a big deal because our offensive line was that bad last year that Alex Lewis was our best. So to bring him back on a 3-year cheap deal, I feel like he's going to compete for that left guard position. If not, he'll be a backup. So I really like his energy and his passion for the game. I feel like he's a good locker room guy, and he has that intensity mindset. And I feel like bringing him back, that's a good example of a Joe Douglas offensive lineman type of guy. He went out and got him with a 7th round pick, so I think it was a great value to bring him back for 3 years. Next, we re-signed Brian Poole, slot cornerback. And I love this signing. I was hoping it was going to be a little more than just a 1-year deal because I feel like he could be our slot corner for the future. But I can't complain. He was our best cornerback last year. He solidified the slot position. He was a beast in the run game. He had a pick 6. He was just a dog. He fits perfectly in Greg Williams' scheme. And I'm super excited that Brian Poole is back on the Jets. Next up, we got Jordan Jenkins, edge rusher. This is another huge signing. When I was looking at the free agents for the Jets going into free agency, Brian Poole and Jenkins were the top of my list besides Robbie Anderson that I wanted them to re-sign for the defense. I feel like Jordan Jenkins is a perfect locker room presence. He has that intensity, and if we can pair him up with another player on the outside and the other edge, I really like that. And Jordan Jenkins maybe not be the best guy to get to the quarterback, but he's excellent in run defense, and Greg Williams knows how to coach the hell out of him, and we saw how electric the Jets' run defense was last year. So that was another huge pickup for Joe Douglas on a 1-year deal. Neville Hewitt is our next signing that I want to talk about. He played a lot last year. He was obviously a backup, and we had so many injuries at the middle linebacker position. So it's good that we have so much depth at the middle linebacker now because we suffered so much injuries. And I like Neville Hewitt coming back because he filled in for CJ Mosley, and he will be a depth player. Hopefully he doesn't really see the field that much because that means CJ's playing and Avery Williamson's playing and all that type of stuff. So I like the move as a depth move, and that's really it. Another inside linebacker we re-signed, James Burgess Jr. He came in again and filled in the role at middle linebacker and played pretty well. He was more of a high energy tackling type of guy. He wasn't really that great in coverage, but I like again that Joe Douglas understands that inside linebacker is a huge deal for Greg Williams. He needs those players, and James Burgess Jr. was a kind of a no-name going into 2019, and he filled in a role, and he played okay. I mean, he wasn't amazing or anything, but he played decent enough for like a 4th-string inside linebacker, so I like that move for depth as well. Next up, we got Arthur Millette, cornerback. This was another guy that came in and was a depth player and filled in the role at the cornerback position. We had so many injuries at cornerback, so it was like Greg Williams somehow just found all these guys off the street and plugged them in at the positions where we were injured, and they played well. They played decent. He's not playing at an elite level or a superstar level. He's not going to be a cornerback for the future, but he's a quality depth player that's only going to get better. And him and Bless Austin, I loved when they were on the field together. At Bless Austin at CB1 and Arthur Millette, I feel like they have good chemistry, and I like that depth signing as well. And then next guy I want to talk about is David Fales, quarterback. We re-signed him. This one I'm not really too happy about. I feel like we could have went out there and got another quarterback besides him, but I know why they did because he's going to be in his 2nd year learning Adam Gase's system, and I feel like Gase's system is really complex, so getting another quarterback in there to learn it, I guess that's their philosophy. I feel like they want someone that knows the system more than somebody that's better at football, if that makes any sense, but I guess that's why they brought back David Fales. Not my favorite signing, but it is what it is. I think that breaks down everyone that we re-signed, and the people that we did not re-sign. Robbie Anderson, he's gone. Obviously, he went to the Carolina Panthers, and a bunch of other guys, but I'm not going to get into the people we lost. So going into the brand new guys that Joe Douglas brought into the New York Jets, I'm going to start off with our first signing, which was George Fant, tackle out of Seattle Seahawks. So this was a shock for us Jets fans. I remember when free agency first started, we're refreshing Twitter, nothing's happening. We see all these players get off the board. Conklin's gone, all these big names are gone, and we're sitting here like, who the hell are we going to get? And all of a sudden, we see the Jets sign tackle George Fant for 3 years, $10 million, and we paid him a lot of money. And all of us, initial reaction, were like, whoa, why are we giving George Fant that much money? I feel like he's not worth that money, you know what I mean? So then I look at the contract and I realize it's really a 1-year deal, but the way the contract's constructed, I don't want to get into the details of that because it's really complicated. But after this year, we can easily cut and move on from Fant and it won't be that much on our cap. But looking at Fant as a prospect and a player, he is extremely athletic. He's played wide out for the Seattle Seahawks and caught passes. So I feel like Adam Gase's and Joe Douglas' offensive line, they want athleticism in their zone run scheme and stuff like that. So I feel like he's going to be versatile. Put him on the right side and Becton at the left side. I feel like that's going to be an okay outside tackle position for the Jets. Do I think Fant's going to be our future tackle for years to come? No. But he could provide depth at the position. Maybe next year we can draft another tackle or vice versa. And also Fant learned from guys at Seattle that are veterans, and he can spill that wisdom over to Becton because he's going to be a rookie, and Clark as well, the rookie. So that does it for George Fant. Next up, I got Connor McGovern out of Denver. I love this signing. The Jets have not had a center since Nick Mangold, and he's not just a center. He can line up at center or either guard position. He's extremely versatile, and he's still young. He's like 26. I feel like his best years are ahead of him, and the most important position on the offensive line in any team is the center position, just because of communication. We need a veteran leadership that can put all the whole group together and get everybody on the same page and get their assignments. We haven't had a good center doing that, and I feel like that's why our offensive line has been so bad ever since Nick Mangold and the Brick left. And I really love this signing. Probably one of my favorite new Jets signings is Connor McGovern, because like I just said, the interior offensive line is important and the center position is so important. And like I said earlier, he's versatile, so he can plug in at any guard position, which is huge. And Joe Douglas kept saying he wants to add versatility to this group. Next up, we signed Greg Van Roten out of Carolina. This is another great signing because we got him for so cheap. It was like a 3-year, $3.5 million deal, and he's going to provide depth. He's going to compete with Brian Winters at the right guard position. I hope he beats Brian Winters because I don't want Winters starting. But he's a guy that's been in the league. He's a veteran. He understands the game. He doesn't have to learn. He's not super young, He's from Long Island. He grew up a Jets fan. So, I like that signing. He's a good culture guy. I feel like we need as many guys on this offensive line for Sam and Le'Veon and I love how Joe Douglas did this free agency. He's looking in the future more than this year. He didn't go out there and sign the Conklins and give him like $15 million per year. He's signing all these quality depth players for cheap, so he has cap flexibility for years to come. You know what I mean? I feel like Greg Van Roten is an example of that. He's going to provide depth at the guard position for years to come, for 3 years, and I like the signing. I really do. And then we get Josh Andrews from the Colts. He's going to be he's like a center guard, and he's going to be just a depth player. That wasn't a flashy signing or anything. That's just going to be our backup. Hopefully he never sees the field, but if he does, hopefully he can come in and be a quality player and be a plug-and-play type of guy. And then that does it for the offensive line. So we got a lot of new offensive linemen, and that was awesome. And I'm also going to make a video to just breaking down the offensive line in general, but this one I'm just going over the free agents. Next up, one of my favorites, Brashad Perriman, wide receiver from the Buccaneers. I love this guy. Right when we found out that Robbie Anderson is leaving us and going to the Panthers, Joe Douglas quickly acts on it and signs Brashad Perriman to a 1-year deal. And we all know Brashad Perriman was a monster for the Bucs in the back end of the season. When Mike Evans went down and Godwin went down, he stepped up at that number 1 position and he flourished. He finally got targets, and you saw what he can do. He was a former first-round pick for the Ravens. He ran like a 4.2 in his pro day, which made him he wasn't even supposed to go in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round, I'm pretty sure. And then all of a sudden he was a freak athlete, and then he shot up all the boards. Ravens took him first round. He was injured in his rookie season. Second year he didn't really play that well. Then he went to the Browns. He's been a journeyman, but he's still young. He's 25, 26 years old, and he has the potential to become him and Denzel Mims, I feel like are going to be really play really well together. I don't know who's going to be the number one. I'm hoping it's going to be Denzel in the future, but I really like the signing to get Robbie Anderson's replacement. He's the same type of player. He can beat you deep. He's big. He's physical, which isn't Robbie, but he's more of a guy that can go up and grab the ball from the air, high point. And yes, I like this signing to replace Robbie Anderson. Next up, we got Pierre Desir from the Colts. This was a great signing. The Colts surprisingly cut him, and the Jets signed him like the next day. And the reason of that is Greg Williams called him up and sold him, and Pierre Desir talked on the phone with Greg Williams, and he probably talked to Nate Hairston, who was on the Colts, and he experienced the Jets defense, so he understands, like, okay, Greg Williams is a great coach. I want to play for him, and that's awesome to hear because Pierre Desir is a veteran. He had a spectacular year like 2018. 2019, he struggled a little bit because they switched the zone, I'm pretty sure, and he's more of a man-to-man, which is Greg Williams' scheme. So I feel like it's a perfect fit, and we need that veteran guy and a replacement for Trumaine Johnson. So I love this signing as well. And then next up, we got Patrick Anuwasor. Sorry, I do not know how to say his last name. Don't comment down below that. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say his last name. But I love the signing. He's a middle linebacker from the Baltimore Ravens, and he played right next to C.J. Mosley when they played together. So that's when we know, is that going to be Avery Williamson's replacement? Will we trade Avery Williamson, or is he just going to be the backup and come in just in case? Mosley and Patrick are going to have great chemistry already because they played together. So I love the signing as well. The more people in the inside linebacker position, the better. And then lastly, which is the most recent signing, is running back Frank Gore from the Buffalo Bills, and obviously a bunch of other teams he's played for. What's crazy about this signing is the reason he came to the Jets is why? Because of head coach Adam Gase. I know that's a shocker for all of us. What the hell? We didn't expect a Hall of Fame running back like Frank Gore to come to a team because of Adam Gase. I do love this signing for one reason. Now, rookie LaMichael Pirine will be able to learn behind Le'Veon Bell and Frank Gore in his rookie season. A running back coming into the league as a fourth-round pick does not always get to learn from two great running backs like that. Like, he gets to pick the brain of Le'Veon's patience and pick the brain of Frank Gore's like workhorse mentality, physicality. So I feel like that is a perfect thing, and I'm hoping Pirine can develop into becoming our future running back of the future. And I love that signing for Frank Gore, bringing the veteran leadership, bringing the guys together on the offense. He has a Hall of Fame presence. People are going to look at Frank Gore on the team, like the young guys, and be like, wow, like that is who I want to be, like in my career. I want to be settling down, being a future Hall of Famer, being a top 5 in my statistic. He's third all time in rushing. So having him behind Le'Veon Bell and he can mentor Pirine, I love that. And we saw him in Buffalo. David Singletary, he was a rookie and flourished, and Frank Gore was probably mentoring him there. So I love that signing from Joe Douglas. And I think that does it for all the re-signings and the signings for the Jets free agency. Leave a comment down below who's your favorite guy we brought back and we brought to the Jets newly. And I love to see Joe Douglas finally finish his free agency. I know there's still a lot of players out there like Logan Ryan, Jadeveon Clowney that we can sign, but hopefully we can get one of those guys because I feel like Logan Ryan will be dope. But like I said earlier, leave a comment down below who your favorite players are and hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Let's go Jets! Peace.